Everybody loves an unboxing video. Today, I've got the Harbor Freight Bauer DA polisher. So let's open up the box. Let's take a look at everything that comes with it. And then I'll also show you how to actually use this tool. So first off, when we open this up, we got the owner's manual, okay? Probably has some safety instructions, things like that. Then there's actually the polisher itself. Looks like it comes with the backing plate already installed and the power cord. Down inside of here, looks like we got the wrench. This is called the spindle wrench, technically, and a side handle. Rather side handle. And then there's a set of replacement brushes. I'm gonna leave these in the bag because I don't want to lose them. And then we're never gonna need that box again around this shop, so might as well get rid of it. Okay, so here we go. This is basically a copy of the Porter Cable Dual Action 7424 XP, which is an 8mm free spinning random orbital polisher. Now, they call this one the 6-inch DA polisher because it comes with a 6-inch diameter backing plate. That's kind of mislabeling the tool because it has nothing to do with the tool. The tool itself, you should always describe a tool by its drive action, and this is an 8mm free spinning random orbital polisher. So anyway, just now that we got that clear. Now it does come with the side handle, and this would attach to either side, but I always tell people take this and pitch it. And the reason why is because when you put that handle on here, newbies will tend to push harder on the handle and it'll cause you to buff crooked, and you don't want to do that. The key to getting great results and having good success with a tool like this is to always keep that pad flat to the surface. So by putting the handle on there, if you start to push on the handle, whether it's on this side or on this side, you know, you're basically gonna buff crooked is how I like to say it. And you're not gonna get good pad rotation or good pad oscillation, so you're not gonna get fast and efficient defect removal. So just throw that handle away. Okay, so the other thing it comes with, of course, is it's got the owner's manual right here, instruction manual. It comes with what's called a spindle wrench. And what this is for there's actually a slot back here, and you gotta come in back in this slot, and you gotta attach that, and I'll go ahead and take this off and show you how this tool works. Anyway, that's how that works. So what you're doing is you're coming in from the side here in this slot, and you're gonna try to grab onto that spindle. Now, sometimes when you come in, this counterweight will be in the way, so you won't be able to access that, but you can take the wrench or like a pencil eraser on the end of a pencil and push that to the side, and now you can get in here and access that spindle to lock it up so you can remove or to replace, to swap between backing plates. And backing plates do wear out, so once in a while you may have to replace that backing plate. Now, while I got this thing apart, I want to show you how this thing works. When we talk about a free rotating spindle, this is what I mean. This is the spindle, and with my finger I can just easily spin that. And that's what makes this tool and a lot of tools like this, what are called a free spinning random orbital polisher. They're not gear driven, so they're the opposite. They're free spinning. Now the counterweight here, the way these tools work is this counterweight, when you turn the speed on, it brings it up to speed because it's a weight. It builds inertia, and that helps to maintain the rotation of the spindle. But because it's not gear driven, if you were to push too hard on this or hold it crooked, the pad will actually stall out and quit spinning. So it's kind of a built-in safety factor, especially if you're new to machine polishing. So let me go ahead and just for fun, I'm gonna go ahead and reattach this backing plate. And something I wanna point out on the backing plate, these things come with what's called a compression washer. Okay, so this is like a fibrous washer, it could be a synthetic material, and a lot of times they'll slip off. If you do a backing plate and you pull this up and you don't pay attention, it'll fall off. And you want to make sure you do not use this or attach this without that, because what it does is it's going to compress between the steel spindle and the steel portion of the backing plate, so you don't have metal to metal contact. And so you just want to make sure anytime you're disassembling or changing backing plates that you don't use the compression washer. And a compression washer is also something that wears out. You compress it, you tighten it down, pretty soon it's all compressed, and now you're going to have what's called metal to metal contact. And here I'll even show you what happens without that compression washer. These rivets right here on the back of the backing plate will hit that counterweight, and it's going to make an awful noise noise, but it also generates a lot of heat. And I've actually seen in the center of the backing plate, the heat transfer all the way through here and deform this. So don't lose the compression washer. And one way that you can tell if you lost the compression washer is when you go to turn the polisher on, it starts making a lot of noise. That's a sign that you've lost the compression washer. Okay, so to put this thing back on, I'm just going to grab the old spindle here, and then I usually use my thumb and I use it to hold that compression washer on until I see the stud has come into contact with the spindle, and then just turn it on, spin it on like that until it's snug. You don't want to over tighten it, but you don't want it loose. Okay, just like that. Okay, now let's look at some of the different features of the tool itself. It has what's called a rocker power switch right here. So you would just basically just push that forward and you kind of rock it. I'll show that at an angle. You push it forward and then rock it forward, and that locks it into place. It has a variable speed dial on the very back of the tool that goes from 1 to 6. And this is a polisher that offers between 2,000 on the low end to 6,400 OPM, or oscillations per minute. So that's the range this tool has. Has a 5.7 amp motor. It weighs about 6 pounds and comes with a 10-foot. This is actually a rubber extension cord. I got another one over here, and what's interesting, it has got a vinyl wrap cord. The rubbers are actually a better cord. It's less likely to mar the paint should you just touch the side of a fender or something with the cord while you're polishing. Besides that, you can see that there are some grill openings here to pull fresh air through to keep the tool cool. There's usually a fan. There's a fan. You can actually see it right in here. And that fan, it pulls air through the tool to keep the tool cool under operation. And besides that, I think that's about it. One of the things I don't really like about this tool is it's got a plastic nut up here that holds the plastic cap on. But since it's round, it doesn't work very good as a tool rest to keep this thing from falling over. So that's just something professionals always like, because they like something with the tool rest on it. So there's a flat spot on that. So you lay these things upside down, they stay there. And that way, say if you had a pad on here, now your pad isn't touching wherever you sit that down, possibly contaminating the pad. So it's just a nice feature to have a tool rest on the back of a tool. Okay, so now this tool here is, it comes with this 6-inch backing plate. And this tool, as compared to a Porter cable, and I've got a Porter cable down here. I used this in a recent video, and so I had the backing plate off to show the drive mechanism. But this tool actually has a lot more power, in my opinion, than the Porter cable. And that's why I think it's a better option to purchase if you're looking for an entry level or a simple DA polisher. But one of the things I recommend is when you purchase this tool is to go ahead and purchase a 5-inch backing plate. So look at the size difference, and here's why. With the larger backing plate, you have to, as I like to say, turn and churn larger pads. And one of the things that a lot of people may not really quite understand is anytime you're trying to attach a backing plate to the back of the pad, you need to center the backing plate so the thing is less vibration, better pad rotation, but you can never center a backing plate onto the back of the pad if the Velcro interface is smaller than the diameter of the backing plate, because you can't see if it's centered. So usually the back of any buffing pad you're using is a little bit larger than the diameter of the backing plate, so you can see how to center it. So the bigger picture point being is when you're using a 6-inch backing plate, look how big this pad is compared to a smaller pad. Okay, so by switching over to a smaller backing plate, you're going to be able to turn and churn smaller pads. And the reason this is important is because with less surface area, again, it's going to enable this tool to maintain pad rotation and pad oscillation better with a smaller pad than with this bigger pad. It's just less surface area. Another thing I like to point out is the thickness of pads. Now, I don't really have any thin pads. This is a Lake Country HDO pad, but typically thinner pads will also maintain pad rotation better than thicker pads. And there's a lot of thin pad options on the market. And here in the near future, we're going to be doing an exhaustive look at the different foam buffing pads and even microfiber buffing pads on the market today. And I'll be showing some thin pad options that work great on tools like this. So stay tuned for that video and that blog article. Okay, so now that I've got this thing set up here, I'll take it over here and I'll do a little polishing and show you what the tool actually looks like and how well it maintains pad rotation. But before I start, one of the things I want to talk about is a real popular mod with this tool is to take this thing apart and to pull out the factory grease and replace it with the high quality premium lithium grease. And this is going to do two things. It's actually going to quiet the tool down, and it's going to reduce some of the felt vibration as you're holding the tool. And I've already done this to another Bauer 6-inch DA over here. So I've already done the grease mod to this one. So let me just turn these on so you can hear the sound difference. Got to undo this part first. Okay, so this is brand new out of the box, no grease mod. Let's take a listen to it. I'm going to put this on, I'll run them at the same speed. So we'll put it on speed 3. Now, I can hear a high-pitched whine to this, which would probably drive my ears up the wall after using this for a few hours, buffing out a car. Now, this one I've already done the grease mod to. Let's listen to this one. Let me put it on the 3. Huge difference. So I would highly recommend, if you're going to buy one of these tools, to go ahead and wait for my upcoming video, and I'll show you how to disassemble this and do this the right way. So anyway, let me put this one away. This has already got the grease mod done to it. And I'm going to show you the performance of this with the 6-inch backing plate just over here on this SUV behind me. Okay, so I'm going to center up. Here's a little tip, and every time you're centering these things up, I've seen guys do all kinds of weird, wacky things, but what I do is hold the pad, take my thumb, and then I'm going to rest my thumb against the backing plate, and as I like to say now, at least if I'm shaking in unison, because I am getting older, and then what you want to do is slowly bring this thing down, and as you're bringing it down, be looking at the outer perimeter of the backing plate and the outer perimeter of the Velcro. And the goal is to get this just as centered as possible. The more accurate you get the pad centered onto the tool for any brand of free spinning tool, the better the pad rotation and the better the pad oscillation. As soon as you get that thing cattywampus on there, it's going to affect both those two aspects, the rotation and the oscillation. Okay, so behind me here, I've got just a daily driver SUV, and it's due for a good buff, but I'm going to go ahead and put some Dr. Beasley's Z1. And if you're not familiar with this product, it's actually a pretty cool product. It's a ceramic AIO, which is a ceramic all-in-one. That means it removes swirls and scratches, polishes the paint to a high gloss, and then it will also leave behind a ceramic protection. Okay, so there's my 3 pea-sized drops. They kind of warm this up a little bit. Okay, now I'm on the speed 3 right there, and I'm getting some pretty good pad rotation. Hold on, let me also share a quick technique. Dang, I almost forgot about that. Anytime you're using what's called a free spinning polisher, and here's how you can test. If you can grab a tool and just spin the pad freely, that means it's a free spinning random orbital polisher. And one of the problems with a tool like this, in basically any brand of free spinning polisher, is when I turn this thing on, okay, when I turn this thing on, look at this and this. Let me turn this off so you can hear me. Because this backing plate is a solid yellow and this is a yellow pad, it doesn't matter what the color is, all this looks like to my eyes is a blur. So it's really hard to tell, is the pad rotating and oscillating, or is it just stalling out and vibrating as the paint? So what you want to do is you want to take a Sharpie marker and just make a few marks on the backing plate. Just sporadically put some on there. And you can also put some on the sides of your foam buffing pads, and it'll probably hold up. Even if you wash the pads, it'll hold up. Now here's what that's gonna do. Instead of just being a blur, you're gonna be able to see if that pad is actually rotating and oscillating, and it just makes it easier for your eyes to monitor. So, there we go. Now if I hold it crooked, now that just stalls out. And that's what I mean by pad stalling. And that's why I said throw the handle away, because if you put the handle on here, you'll tend to buff like this. You'll put more pressure on the handle, buff crooked, and you'll lose pad rotation and pad oscillation. Okay, now I'm gonna bump this up all the way to the 6, and this is a gentle curve here, and I just want you to see that how well this tool actually is able to maintain pad rotation as I work this curve. Okay, I'm gonna go up the curve. Look at that. There's air there. So even though it's a nice concave curve, even though this is actually it's still a gradual curve, it's able to maintain pad rotation. So that's what I like about this tool compared to the Porter cable, is it's actually able to maintain that pad rotation anytime you're not buffing on a simple flat panel. And as we all know, modern cars, just due to the design, so that it looks like a beautiful car and it's different from everything that's on the road, the engineers or the designers, they build in these different curves. And you as a detailer, got to learn how to manage pad rotation as you work through those curves. Now, imagine if I put a smaller pad on here, and then I started buffing. Less material, less surface area, smaller diameter. It's going to actually maintain pad rotation even better when you're buffing out curves. So that's why I recommend, as soon as you buy this thing, swap it over to the smaller backing plate. Where'd my smaller backing? Oh, I got one here on a brush. Here's one. And then take all the money that you would have spent on large pads, and instead of buying large pads that, even though you saw it was rotating really well, it's still not going to rotate as well as a smaller pad, spend all your money buying thinner, smaller pads, and you'll get better pad paint correction. It'll be faster, more effective using a tool like this. Okay, now a couple other things I just wanted to share that you can do with this tool is, this is what they call a 5-inch DA rotary brush, okay? And I got a backing plate on there. And while it's not I'm a big fan of using cordless rotaries to machine scrub tires. I show it for boat detailing to machine scrub the non-skid inside of the boat to really get, if you think about it on a boat, if you got a boat with a non-skid floor, fiberglass, gel coat, oxidizes, but non-skid is like little squared hills and valleys, and it's going to oxidize. So how do you get in there and remove the oxidation? Well, you throw a brush like this on a rotary, throw some common in there, start scrubbing, it's going to clean that son of a gun so fast. But you can put this on a tool like this, and it does do a pretty good job of maintaining pad rotation. So you can do things like I teach machine scrubbing tires, machine scrubbing plastic cladding on the outside of trucks and vans and SUVs, like a lot of times the running boards around the bumpers. Any of the body panels have cladding. Instead of trying to scrub those by hand, scrub them by machine. You've got the tool. And then here's another thing that you can also do with this, is you can keep that 6-inch backing plate, because then you can use a interface pad and do some machine sanding. So I have shown these in the past to machine sand boats. So here's the interface pad. Attach that. That's just a little bit of foam cushion to enable the sanding disc to stay flat to the surface. This is actually Eagle Abrasives by Kovacs sanding disc. It's 2500. Put that on there. Don't run it on the 6 though. And now you could be machine sanding. So remove orange peel or surface texture on a car, or sand down the deep oxidation off of a gel coat boat. And just to show you the different options, that's the Eagle Abrasive system. Over here, I've just got a generic interface pad purchased off Amazon. You could put this on here, and you could go to like the Mirka Abralon. This is a Mirka Abralon 1000. And again, here's a great way to sand down oxidation on a neglected boat. So a very versatile tool. You can do paint correction, you can do machine scrubbing, and you can also do machine sanding. So with the Harbor Freight 6-inch DA, I think these come in right around $65, probably looking at $70 with tax. A lot of times Harbor Freight has a sale, you get 10, 20, sometimes 30% off, so you can really pick it up cheap. And if you think you're gonna be using this a lot, then you might as well get that 3-year warranty, extended warranty. And then if it ever does break, you can always take it back and get a replacement, no questions asked. Anyway, that is the Harbor Freight Bauer 6-inch DA polisher. Remember, it's not actually a 6-inch polisher, it's an 8mm free spinning random orbital polisher. And before you go, I would just like to show this. When we talk about an 8mm orbit stroke length, what does that mean? If I put this thing on, let me switch to a different color here, something that'll show the orbit stroke a little more accurately. Because everybody throws around the terms 21mm, 15mm, 8mm, 9mm. So when you turn this thing on, can you see the two perimeters? That gap there the outer and the inner, that space, that's 8 millimeters. So the larger the orbit stroke length, the larger these two perimeters will end up showing to your eyes. And that's just a good way to share with somebody what you mean when you're talking about the orbit stroke length of a free spinning random orbital polisher. Anyway, that's all I got for you, but I'm going to tell you that I do have I'm going to show you how I went and took this one apart, and then I put in a premium red and tacky lithium grease to quiet it down, actually help you get more service life out of the tool. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, and stay tuned for more fun videos coming up.